era for the basketball team. It will be a new era for the football team there as well, Patrick. And when you break down what Hugh was able to do with the Tigers, able to get a lot of prospects. Auburn had a top 10 recruiting class, I think, almost every year he was there. Top 20 for sure. Top 10 this past year. So the talent was there, but the results on the field simply were not there, especially there on offense.
No, and I mean, Hugh was – you can break college coaches down into one of three categories. You could be a great recruiter, you could be a great on-field coach, and then you could also be a great leader.
Correct.
And it felt like Hugh Freeze was great at recruiting, just unable to put a product on the field on the offensive side that – could win you ball games. I mean, you've said it many times. I think I've said it a few times that Auburn's defense is good enough to win an SEC title.
100%.
It's just the other side. If you could just get an offense going, then I mean, honestly, we could be talking about Auburn being up there with, we might have an Iron Bowl for the SEC championship.
Yes.
Play them 2 weeks or back-to-back games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, essentially playoff games for Auburn. They're just not able to get it done now. So the question now is, where does Auburn go next? Because this is a really interesting market, so to speak, for college coaches. And it's almost starting to get saturated just how many jobs will be open coming up in the offseason here. And for a lot of teams, are already starting their search. Back on October 19th, Florida fired Billy Napier. Last week, we saw Brian Kelly.
3 weeks in a row.
And now it's the third week in a row. For third week for LSU, Florida, and Auburn. And then earlier in the season, it is now Arkansas also looking for a head coach as well. With that graphic up there, I am interested in your thoughts on how would you rank these jobs, and that's given everything, given the expectations, given what you're, being able to get as far as resources and money and whatnot. We kind of played this game for fun a couple weeks ago with Trade Air, but now it's, if you're a head coach on the market now and you get all four offers, which one is the most enticing?
I'm going to shy outside the box here a little bit.
Okay.
If we're going to go by expectations, recruitment pool, and the desire to win, so to speak, I feel like I have to put Florida at number one.
Okay.
I mean, LSU won in 2019.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's starting to, by the time next season rolls around, that's going to be 7 seasons ago. Florida's getting impatient.
Very.
And they want, they've seen what their basketball team's doing.
Right.
Their baseball team's poised to have another good year this year. So it's something's got to give for the football program, so to speak.
Right.
And I know that they're going to go hard at Lane Kiffin, but as I'll say later on the show, there's a reason why I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to go anywhere this year.
Okay.
But just, the recruiting pool there as well. Florida is loaded.
Absolutely.
They've got high school talent all over the place.
Right.
And I think I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but the fact that my Syracuse Orange are able to pluck a wide receiver basically out of your backyard means something's got to give there in Gainesville. And I think they've got to find a guy that can basically fill the culture.
Yes.
It felt like Billy – I don't want to say he was like Brian Kelly trying to fake it till you make it, but it just felt like Billy was just a little bit too calm, relaxed, just like meh.
Right.
And honestly, I think his stubbornness led to his firing because he just 100%. Wouldn't give up the play calling.
Yep. He never gave up the play calling, and you're right. He couldn't ever manage it, and then it felt like the adjustments couldn't be made. As soon as things would go sour, there were no adjustments there. I'm right there with you. I think obviously LSU comes with a lot of heat, but I mean they have fired championship winning coaches. I mean, Les Miles won a championship, he got canned. Ed Orgeron won a championship, he got canned. Auburn did the same thing too, though. A couple years after Gene Chizik won a national championship, he got canned. Gus Malzahn, who was riding shotgun for that championship run, he also got let go as well. Florida, you mentioned it. It's been a long time since Florida has won a championship. They have national championship aspirations. They did so with Steve Spurrier. He brought home championships. They did so with Urban Meyer. He brought championships, and they've been starving for a long time since then. We have had Will Muschamp, and we've had Dan Mullen, and now Billy Napier kind of going through. It almost feels like a turnstile right now at Florida. I agree with you on the Florida take because Florida and the LSU have a lot of similarities as far as the culture and the people, but also the recruiting, which is a key thing as well. Is good to be able to get guys that are right there in your backyard. So Auburn now turns to DJ Durkin as the interim head coach now, and you mentioned it. Durkin is one of these guys that his defense has been outstanding this year, and I think it's something that he can carry on, even though it's Auburn's looking, it doesn't look great for the Tigers as far as the postseason, but as of right now, it looks like DJ Durkin can be that guy.
Yeah, and I feel like Auburn is going to start trending towards an interesting crossroads here, because now you have DJ Durkin as your interim head coach,
right,
and that defense is so good, but the dangerous game you play now is, I have a feeling that Durkin's going to leave Auburn once they hire a head coach, and if it's not him, I feel like he could go be a head coach somewhere else.
For sure.
It might be one of those coaching carousels where it's like a trade, let's say, for example, Auburn hires John Summerall,
right,
and then DJ Durkin goes over to Tulane. So that's just the one thing I feel like Tiger fans have to be a little bit concerned about is, yeah, you've had a great defense under him, but is he going to stay, or is he going to try to make that jump again? I know things didn't really work out for him up in Maryland,
right,
but I bet you he wants another crack at it.
For sure. He wants that rehab. And I think Auburn was here before a couple of years ago when Auburn finally got rid of Brian Harsin.
Yes.
They brought in Cadillac. Cadillac had obviously he's got a different relationship with Auburn than DJ Durkin does, because Durkin's only been a coach there. But Cadillac was a former player, won that Texas A&M game. There was a lot of love for him, but I think a lot of people thought, okay, he's not ready for an SEC head coaching job. He did a great job filling in, and obviously reinvigorated the fan base. Right. So you think even with a strong run there at the end, you think that Auburn still looks for another guy with experience moving forward, or can they rip off their interim tag?
I mean, there's definitely the possibility that they do rip off the interim tag, just because I'm sorry, Auburn fans, how are you going to compete with LSU and Florida to get the guy you want? I'm pretty sure John Summerall is going to be the second most sought-after coach behind Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
And if Lane doesn't go anywhere, then how are you going to beat out Florida or LSU for Summerall? So, I mean, you can run the table. There is the possibility of that.
Right.
But it's just, do you want a defensive coach when the main problem has been your offense?
Has been offense, exactly. And you take a situation where, if, let's just say, there's a genius offensive mind that's there, then maybe that does work out. But I'm right there with you. But yeah, you're right. Auburn's road, if they are to pull up some big wins here, it would be interesting, because they're at Vandy this week. Then they play at home against Mercer, and then host Alabama, of course, in the Iron Bowl. So there are some kind of gettable games as far as like the Tigers want to think about. But they're 4-5 overall, so they still have to win a couple games in order to be bowl eligible. Now, I think with a 5-7 record, you still have you have to cross your fingers that everything works out as far as with the NCAA to be able to go to a bowl game. But the guy that will be making the decision moving forward for the Auburn Tigers is John Cohen. And Cohen's obviously came from Mississippi State. He knows the SEC really well. But this is probably, we saw what happened at LSU. This is probably his biggest decision.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, as you mentioned, we saw what happened at LSU, and the governor stepping in to give his comments about the whole situation. But I mean, this is a major point in John Cohen's career here.
Right.
I mean, he just had Stephen Pearl. It felt like that was like the changing of the guard was slowly happening towards the end of last season. Now it's boom or bust for him, because Auburn is presumably going to have a good men's basketball team this year. They'll probably it's expected that there will be some regression, losing all of those seniors, but there's also some hope that Todd Pettiford grows into a bigger role. But now with this program, the fan base is dying.
Oh, absolutely.
For some success.
Yes, no question.
This is a major decision.
No question. And the AD picking a head coach, as you said, is always the biggest thing, especially in the money-making sport of football. Cohen spoke just moments ago at Auburn. Here he was on the decision.
And, of course, with the new portal period coming up that was just changed recently, I think that is a consideration as well. But certainly as close to following our last game as possible is ideal. But are candidates that you're talking to still playing at that time? What are they playing for? Are they in the CFP? Are they in a bowl? I would assume that every single candidate that we're going to speak to outside of this building is going to be in that situation. So we're going to work as quickly as we possibly can to try and get it done as quickly after the Iron Bowl as possible. It was just the general inefficiency of our offense, especially in fourth quarters. I think you find out a lot about your team and when you watch a fourth quarter offense. Are they going to attack the game and say, we're down a score, we're going to get this done? For whatever reason, that was not happening offensively during the course of the season, and that was something that was noticeable. Everybody in this room noticed that, and that's something that's got to change, and it's got to change quickly.
So there's John Cohen. He will make the decision on who will be the next head coach, but he talked a lot about the Auburn offense and what led to the decision of firing head coach Hugh Freeze. DJ Durkin will take over as the interim coach as the Auburn Tigers head over to Vanderbilt for their first game in the DJ Durkin era, looking to close out the season on a strong note.